Have you ever wanted to play Dark Souls 3 while not leveling up or upgrading anything? No, of course you haven't, but today I wanted to answer the question: can you beat Dark Souls 3 level 1 without upgrading anything? Rules are I have to stay at level 1 for the whole game, and I can't upgrade my weapon or upgrade or increase my estus flask. But infusions are still allowed because it's not called upgrades. But with that, enjoy the video. I woke up from a tomb as a minion looking man ready to take on the world and beat every single boss on the first try. So I immediately lost to Gundyr and then caved to Skullin with my stick and made it to Firelink Shrine, bought a new suit of armor and a shield and a sword, and continue on to Lothric, kill civilians and knights, a little lesser to get a raw gem, and snuck past a few guys to get a proper weapon, the broadsword, which has the most damage for base stats without any rings, and is gonna be my main weapon for a big part of the run. Like, look at that damage. My god. Then I stole a flag from a disabled old woman, bought a pair of trousers, got smacked in the head by a lunatic with an oversized axe, and he wanted to join me on the elevator even though I strictly told him no, by jumping on my head like I was one of those brown things from Mario, and fell to his death, then tried opening a door when I suddenly got startled by a sound, and turned around looking as depressed as ever, and just as I thought my day couldn't get any worse, the biggest damn dog I have ever seen came out of a nether portal and charged at me with a mace. But I was not even a little bit in the mood, so I called the dog a bad dog, from which he magically died without any violence, and flew to the UK, the undead settlement. Sorry, I always get those two mixed up. First I got mauled by rabid dogs in the courtyard, then found my parry shield for the run on a hanging dead body. I don't really know about that. After that I got invaded by some pink guy who took absolutely forever to fight, and he kept healing himself from something I could heal in as well. And he parried me, then I parried him, back and forth until I got greedy and he slew me. Then I dodged some toy-sized arrows and started slapping at a tree that killed its own people. Then I blew up its large number of nuts, fell through the floor, broke my leg and took the tree down with me. Then I continued to the road of Wait, no, never mind. I actually first got a new weapon in the sewers. And I already know I said that about the broadsword, but these little gloves with tiny little metal beads on them will definitely be more deadly than a 3.5 feet long sword. With their quick little blows that you can do relatively fast and deal like okay damage, and you can do a whole damn lot without running out of stamina. Because as my dad always used to say, if you want to fight all the powerful lords, use reinforced leather gloves instead of swords. And after talking to Sigurd, I tried for way too long to parry this lanky scrawny knight, but I had completely lost my skills after about 50 hours of Elden Ring. But I got it and could go forth with pride, because as my dad, I then returned to Lothric again to find these innocent praying men for a raw gem, and farmed them long enough that I started to doubt this idea, but I got it last minute and felt very good. Then added it to my illegal boxing gloves, and now my fists hit like a normal person, if they were wearing leather gloves with little metal pieces on them. I then ran through the stinky swamp and tried killing the 2 fat guards, but that didn't work at all, so I made one of them fall, caught a log wielding guy off guard, and speed ran the toxic swamp faster than I've ever done, opened the magic doors to the Abyss Watchers, and headed towards one of the most annoying bosses in the game, the Sage Man. Because the runback is annoying, and its second phase it spawns all of its imaginary friends who shoot you all at once, and when you have this low health they'll kill you in 2 shots. So I died a whole lot, like really a lot, and it took me just about 45 minutes to beat and a whole lot of attempts, and I was only relatively close to beating the crap out of my PC. And then it was time for the cathedral, so I ambushed a person made to ambush me, killed him and then successfully parried the X guy without messing up a single time. Ran away from teleporting dogs, laughed at Gale's misery, scurried through the cathedral and got myself a large shield and sword ring. That might be some of the best rings I can get with as low damage and health I have, because at full health they increase my damage and absorption by 20%. Then I found Patches, who sells the dark resin I need for a later boss. But I had to do his quest line to be able to buy it, so I tried killing him instead. But with his giant sword and fat onion armor it was nearly impossible, and I just gave up and went to the deacons, which might seem to be hard with it being a DPS race, but all they actually need are a little sweet talking into giving me the doll. And after about 20 minutes I was just too charismatic, and they handed over the key to Irithyll without any problems and not any violence at all, of course. Then I equipped my best armor and got myself a cool hat of my enemy, the sages. Because as my dad always used to say, always keep your enemies close and away, even though it's just a game and we are not in May. Yeah, no, I don't know why I said that. But it was time for the pretty bad at watching the Abyss guys. And at first I just tried showing him where some Abyss may be so he could go watch it. But he instead wanted to stab me with his big knife. Like, it's crazy how everybody here in the UK. But yeah, I did not know what I got myself into, because dealing this little damage and being as bad at the game as I was, it was going to be absolutely horrible. And after almost an hour I blamed my losses on the big stupid hat and said it was blocking my view and I couldn't see anything. And when I switched back to my old helmet it went just as bad. And I think I might have just been a little mad, but I did start to figure out the first phase, where you just run and keep your distance when they double team you, and let the red-eye man take care of one while you kill the other, which worked wonders. And second phase was nothing but waiting for the jump spin attack and get a backstab every now and then. That was it, and after another half an hour I did everything correctly and killed them. With the watchers no longer watching, I stole their fashion and now could set foot in the abyss-infected catacombs and say hello to my deceased great-great-grandparents and tell them that the Elder Scrolls 6 still isn't out yet. And run past a bunch of skeletons and rats, try to take my favorite cup, but it sucks me into an abyss-infected realm instead, where I wake up the High King, hit his bracelets a few times, and even with my non-upgraded raw broadsword at soul level 1, this fight was easier than the tutorial boss, and it was time for Irithyll. But I actually instead wanted to fight the Dancer, because fighting Pontiff, Yorm and Eldritch aren't gonna make the Dancer easier because I can't level up. And killing the Dancer and a few other bosses will give me the Prisoner's Chain that increases my health a whole lot, which is so damn good. And would also give me access to the best weapon I can get, the Dragon Slayer axe that deals lightning damage. And together with a Knight and Hunter's Ring from the Grand Archives, I can use it, and as you might know, almost every mid-game and late-game boss is weak to lightning, which will make everything so much easier. Actually it turns out that you can only get into the Grand Archives after you killed Yorm and Eldritch, so I cannot actually use the Dragon Slayer axe for any other boss than Soul of Cinder and the Twin Princes. So it was kind of wrong. It's only late game bosses I can use it against, but it's still really good. But that might have been the worst decision I have ever made, because at this point while I'm writing the script, I have still not even beaten her, and it has been over 7 hours of attempts. But yeah, back to the script. Anyways, first I decided to calm Patches down by paying for my absolution at Vilka's statue in the series of the Undead Settlement, and then do his little crystalline thing, find him again by crawling under the roof, and then buy all his stock of human pine resin, the dancer's only weakness. And this fight was really damn hard, and this was also my first insight on how hard this challenge I picked for myself, because I apparently love suffering, actually is. Because it deals so much damage, has so much health, is so fast, and is so unpredictable. And for the longest time I couldn't even get it to the second phase, and I was burning through my resins, which is like 1500 souls each, and it takes quite a long time to get that this early in the game because everything is so hard to kill. So this was just all in all horrible. After losing a lot and trying with armor and without armor, I gave up and decided to take a little break and get the Dragon Slayer axe, and my god, was this a bad idea as well. First I followed through Ciri's questline, struggled to find her summon sign, and what was originally a little quick side quest turned out to be a living nightmare. And that is because I have to fight a single enemy on a bridge with an ally that for some reason is as strong as a porcelain vase and just dies after a couple hits and does about 30 damage. And if that wasn't bad enough, if she dies, I lose. So while fighting a guy that hits like a loaded truck, has thousands of health and can fully heal up a total of 3 times, I also have to keep weak Ciri out of the battle and protect her, and this took over an hour and well over 25 attempts. But after getting a few close calls and actually getting close to breaking my weapon for the first time, I finally killed him. But he didn't drop the axe, so it turns out I have to kill him again, inside Aerythel this time, and I have to fight him using an ember, which I only had 7 of, so I have 7 attempts to kill a guy that can 2-shot me. Yeah, I was absolutely cooked. But then out of nowhere a miracle happened. And I got my axe, still needed 2 rings to use it though. Then I wanted to attempt killing Yorm, which actually went decent, but it just do so little damage that each attempt takes around 15 minutes, and most of his attacks one-shot me, so I decided to wait with Yorm until I got the lightning axe. And that was a pretty bad decision because I can't even use the lightning axe before I kill Yorm. But then I also tried killing Pontiff because I just couldn't get enough of losing apparently, and I have to parry him a lot. But for some reason I kept dying at the exact same time, right before phase 2, and then I just gave up. Then I got the Chloranthy ring to boost my stamina, but also remembered the heal spell that I can use at level 1, which is pretty useful and gives 1 full heal with 3 charges. Downside is that it takes over a year to cast. Late after losing to the dancer for even more hours, I got the deep battle axe that does passive dark damage. But sadly it turns out the extra 20 damage just doesn't compensate for slower attack speed and higher stamina drain, and I couldn't even buff it with human pine resin. And at this point it all just seemed hopeless. I was well over 7 hours into fighting and preparing and experimenting with the dancer. I had only made it to 1/4 of her health a couple times, and it just seemed impossible to the point I felt like Sisyphus. And I could get her into her second phase every fight, but no matter what, I just kept on dying and dying and dying again because of a little mistime or a bad decision. But as my dad always used to say, never give up fighting the dancer for a day, because then no content for thy viewers you can repay, and thy videos will gain vastly longer delay. So I pushed away the little devil on my shoulder telling me to give up, and farmed for over 30 resin of 50,000 souls. Died a couple times from the knight standing outside that perfectly catches me mid-roll. And then I lost for another couple of hours. So I decided maybe a crossbow from a long range would help me take her down in her second phase. So I grinded for the knight's crossbow, found Grey Red and made him go scavenge hunting. but found out I have to kill a damn boss to get him back, and we all know that wouldn't be possible, so I had to use wooden bolts that did a total of 130 damage together on paper, which was decent of course, and then it was time to test it on the dancer. And 13 damage. Yeah, that was it. So to kill her with crossbow in her second phase, I would have to shoot her about 200 consecutive times, and while I was testing I hit around half of my shots, so that was also not gonna happen ever. After this I just kept on trying again and again and getting her quite low sometimes, but then something quite interesting struck me. The dancer is able to bleed, but of course the best bleeding knife comes from Grey Rat, who's still gone, so I had to settle for the second best, a blood infused dagger, and this just might be the thing that gives me the win, so I tested it out and the bleed came pretty quick from the quick dagger, but the damage of the bleed combined with the 16 damage of the dagger just didn't quite do what the broadsword did. So I returned with the sword, got an embarrassing attempt, then tried again where my mouse freaked out in the start, but even with my mouse against me, 11 hours of fighting, losing and trying strategies, I got this attempt. Yes! Yes! And as you heard, I got mildly happy. And with the dancer defeated, I now open up a plethora of choices, items and paths to take. And in the next episode I will answer the question, can you beat Dark Souls 3 level 1 without upgrading anything? So if you managed to enjoy it, leave a like, subscribe and become a member to help out my channel. Also remember to join my Discord channel via the link in the description. But I hope you enjoyed and see you soon.